Today we are talking about how to show up as your best artist self. A lot of times as dancers, we relegate ourselves to showing up only when important people are in the front of the room. Think about it. We only say, oh my gosh, I gotta show out, I gotta turn up, I gotta show up when there are people in front of the room or important people in front of the room. When the director of our program or our artistic director or a choreographer who's coming to scout out dancers or a producer who needs dancers for a project comes into the room, that's when we feel like we have to show up, right? But in order to show up as your true artist self and to be true to who you are, and also to continue to see growth in your artistry and in how you develop throughout your career, you have to love and care about yourself enough to show up even if it's not a big day. Does that make sense? Even if it's not a huge audition, this is already getting so good to me, okay? You have to train yourself to show up for yourself, because it is that person who will show up and show out and shine bright when it counts on a high level. It always counts, but when you take the time to show up as your best artist self, when there's not some big show or there isn't some big person coming in or there isn't some big audition, you can rest assured that that person that you have been cultivating, even when it's not a big deal day, that's the person, hi guys, who will show up when it is time for you to go to the audition, when it is time for you to go to the master class, or when it is time for you to do something that can be career defining. So I'm going to tell you guys 2 main ways you can show up for yourself. First way you show up for yourself, your best artist self, is to not compare yourself to other artists. Listen, that is such a huge one. And I was just telling myself the other day, like, Trinity, you cannot look at someone else's career. You cannot look at someone else's abilities and start to demean yourself because you like what you see in other people. A lot of the times when we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other artists, it's because we like what we see in that person and we feel like we don't possess it. So there can only be 1 or 2 solutions from that. 1, there's something you need to work on, which is absolutely fine for us to admit, because we're growing artists, right? And we're mature artists. Or 2, you just need to be inspired by that person. The second way you show up as your greatest artist self is put in the work. You have to put in the work. There is no one who can say, I want to have a professional career in dance and not put in the work. You have to put in the work. It's not just going to happen by osmosis. It's not even going to happen on accident. You have to tell yourself that this is something that I want. This is something that I want to pursue. And this is something that I want to be great at. And so, yeah, you definitely have to put in the work.